Picture this. I'm standing at my kitchen window, the late afternoon sun slicing through the blinds, casting sharp shadows across the linoleum floor. My name's Claire, I'm 36, and I've carved out a quiet life in a sleepy suburban town just beyond the hum of a lively college city in upstate New York. I've always been the kind of woman who keeps herself buttoned up, literally and figuratively. Even when the summer heat clings to my skin like a second layer, you'll find me in long-sleeved, high-necked dresses, my arms and thoughts tucked neatly away. I learned early on to keep my emotions on a short leash, trained myself to smile just enough, speak just enough, never too much. It's safer that way. My days unfold in a small home office, a cramped corner of our modest house cluttered with accounting ledgers and stacks of receipts. I'm a freelance bookkeeper, and this room is my fortress, piles of paper shielding me from the outside world. The hum of my calculator and the scratch of my pen are the soundtrack to my life. It's orderly, controlled, just how I like it. My husband, Mark, is the other constant in my world. He's 38, a security guard at the community college nearby, and for 12 years, he's been my steady ground. He's a broad-shouldered man, always in that Navy uniform, his eyes carrying the weight of long night shifts. There's a quiet strength to him, a stillness that matches mine. We used to chase little thrills together, late-night drives with the windows down, the cool air whipping through our hair, laughing over nothing. But now, our marriage has settled into a rhythm as predictable as the ticking of a clock. Dinner at 6 p.m., TV until 9, then bed. It's comfortable, but sometimes I catch myself wondering if comfort is just another word for complacency. I've met a few of Mark's coworkers over the years at college events, older men with weathered faces, always carrying an air of quiet authority. They nod at me politely, their hands clasped behind their backs, and I smile back, ever the proper wife. But beneath that smile, there's a restlessness I can't name. I feel it most when I'm alone, standing in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at my reflection like I'm looking for someone I used to know. Who would I be if I weren't so afraid of stepping out of line? If I didn't cling so tightly to this image of perfection I've built around myself? My dresses, my manners, my measured words, they're all part of a cage I've locked myself in. And the worst part? I'm the one holding the key, but I'm too scared to turn it. Mark's noticed, I think. He's seen the way I drift off mid-conversation, the way my fingers fidget when I think no one's watching. He's never pushed me to talk about it, though. He's patient like that, always giving me space. But last night, something shifted. After dinner, as I was rinsing dishes at the sink, Mark came up behind me, his voice low and cryptic. He said, "Claire, tomorrow's going to be different. I need you to trust me." That was it. No explanation, no hint of what he meant. His words hung in the air like a storm cloud, heavy and impossible to ignore. I turned to ask him what he was talking about, but he'd already walked away, disappearing into the living room with that same quiet intensity he always carries. My stomach twisted with a mix of confusion and mild anxiety. What could he possibly mean by different? Was he planning something sweet? Like a surprise date to rekindle the spark we've let fade? Or was it something mundane, like dragging me into a campus cleanup event he'd volunteered us for? My mind spun with possibilities, each one more uncertain than the last. I barely slept that night, tossing and turning in our creaky double bed, the sheets tangling around my legs as I replayed his words over and over. Trust him? Of course I trust him, but why the mystery? By the time the first gray light of dawn crept through the curtains, I was exhausted, my eyes gritty, and my thoughts no clearer. I dragged myself out of bed, going through the motions of my morning routine like a robot. I slipped into a navy long-sleeved dress, the fabric cool against my skin, and tugged my auburn hair into a tight bun, securing it with a few pins until not a strand was out of place. Control, that's what I needed. Something to anchor me. I shuffled into the kitchen, brewed a pot of coffee, and stood by the window, sipping the bitter liquid while staring out at the gray autumn sky. The trees were shedding their last leaves, and the world outside looked as heavy and uncertain as I felt inside.
Mark joined me for breakfast, but he was quieter than usual, his broad frame hunched over a bowl of cereal. He barely looked at me, just muttered between bites that I should meet him at the college auditorium at 2 p.m. sharp. No smile, no explanation, just that same cryptic edge to his tone. I nodded, my throat tight, and watched him grab his security badge and head out the door without another word. The silence he left behind felt louder than ever. I finished my coffee, the mug cold in my hands by the time I set it down, and tried to focus on the day ahead. But my nerves were buzzing, a low hum of unease I couldn't shake. The drive to campus felt longer than usual. My hands gripped the steering wheel of our old sedan so tightly my knuckles turned white. The college town was eerily silent, the streets empty during this technical break when most students and staff were gone. The quiet pressed in on me, amplifying every creak of the car, every rustle of leaves skittering across the road. I pulled into the parking lot near the security office and stepped into the college auditorium at exactly 2 p.m., the heavy door creaking shut behind me with a thud that echoes through the empty space. The air inside is cool, almost stale, and the dim lighting casts long shadows across the rows of vacant seats. My footsteps falter on the worn wooden floor as I move toward the stage, my heart thumping louder than I'd like to admit. I'm still not sure why Mark asked me to come here, but the mystery of it all has my nerves on edge, a tight knot forming in my chest. I smooth down the fabric of my navy dress, a habit born from needing to feel in control, and scan the room for any sign of him. But there's nothing. Just silence, thick and heavy, until I hear the shuffle of boots from the wings of the stage. 3 figures emerge from the darkness, stepping into the faint glow of the overhead lights. I recognize them immediately from past college events, though I've never spoken to them beyond a polite nod. There's Frank, a grizzled man in his 50s, his salt and pepper beard framing a smirk that sends an uneasy shiver down my spine. He's got this weathered look, like life's roughed him up, but he's come out grinning. Then there's Tom, late 40s, tall and wiry, with sharp eyes that seem to cut right through me, like he's already figured out every thought in my head. And finally, Ray, early 50s, stocky and broad, with a gravelly voice that carries a quiet intensity even when he's not speaking. They're all dressed in casual clothes, jeans, flannel shirts, nothing like the uniforms I'd expect on a workday, even during a break. That detail alone makes my stomach twist. Something's off, and I can feel it in the way they stand there, watching me with an unspoken understanding between them. I clear my throat, my voice shaky as I force out a greeting. Hey, good to see you all. Do you know where Mark is? My words hang in the air, unanswered, as they exchange knowing glances that only deepen my unease. Before I can press further, a crackle of static cuts through the silence, and Mark's voice booms through the auditorium speakers, startling me so badly I nearly jump. Claire, this is for you. A gift. If you're ready, let go. His tone is calm, deliberate, but it sends my mind reeling. I whip my head around, searching for the source, until my eyes land on the security cameras mounted in the corners of the room, their tiny red lights blinking like unblinking eyes. He's watching me. From the security office, no doubt, hidden behind monitors while I stand here, exposed and confused. My breath catches as the pieces start to fall into place. This isn't some romantic surprise or a quirky attempt to break our routine. Mark has arranged this, brought these men here, with me, alone in this empty auditorium. The realization hits like a punch to the gut. He's giving me permission, even encouraging me to step beyond the boundaries of our marriage, to explore a part of myself I've kept buried under layers of restraint for years. My knees feel weak, and I grip the edge of the stage for support, the rough wood digging into my palms as my mind races. Shock floods through me first, cold and sharp, followed by a wave of fear. What does this mean for us? For me? But beneath it all, there's something else. A flicker of curiosity I'm ashamed to even acknowledge. It's like a whisper in the back of my mind, daring me to consider the possibilities, even as my heart pounds with dread.
Frank takes a step closer, his boots scuffing against the floor, the sound loud in the stillness. "We're here if you want this, Claire. No pressure," he says, his voice surprisingly calm, almost gentle. But it does little to ease the storm raging in my chest. Tom and Ray stay back, their postures relaxed, but their eyes fixed on me, waiting for my reaction. I can feel the weight of their gazes, heavy and expectant, and it makes my skin prickle. My hands tremble as I stand there, frozen, my hands trembling at my sides as Frank's words echo in my mind. His voice, calm and steady, offers a choice, but it feels like the ground beneath me is shifting, threatening to swallow me whole. I can still feel the weight of the stage edge under my palms from moments ago, a desperate anchor in this storm of uncertainty. Then, Frank steps even closer, his presence looming, but not threatening. And I feel the brush of his calloused hand against my arm, the rough texture catching on the fabric of my sleeve. It's a fleeting touch, barely there, but it sends a jolt through me. My skin prickling with a mix of nerves and something I can't quite name. It's not just the contact. It's the weight of what I'm allowing, the unspoken permission I'm teetering on the edge of giving. Tom moves in from the side, his tall frame casting a shadow as his fingers trace a slow, deliberate path along the small of my back. The heat of his hand seeps through the thin material of my dress, grounding and unsettling all at once. My breath hitches, caught in my throat, as Ray leans in from the other side, his stocky build close enough that I can feel the warmth radiating off him. His breath brushes against my ear, hot and intimate, as he murmurs, "You're safe here." The low timbre of his voice vibrates through me, a stark contrast to the cold, sterile air of the auditorium. Every sensation is heightened. The roughness of Frank's touch lingering on my arm, the steady warmth of Tom's hand at my back, the way Ray's whisper seems to wrap around me like a secret. It's all so vivid against the backdrop of this empty space, the rows of vacant seats staring back at me like silent judges, the harsh spotlight pinning me in place, and those unblinking red lights of the cameras in the corners, capturing every second. I know Mark is watching, his gaze reaching me through those lenses, and the thought sends a shiver down my spine that's equal parts dread and thrill. My mind is a battlefield, torn between the life I've built and the pull of something raw and uncharted. Guilt claws at me, sharp and unrelenting. How can I even consider this? Mark is my husband, my steady ground for over a decade, and yet here I am, standing on this stage, surrounded by his coworkers, feeling the stir of a hunger I've buried deep under layers of modesty and restraint. I've spent years perfecting the art of control, of keeping myself neatly contained, but now, in this moment, I feel that control slipping through my fingers like sand. There's a part of me, small but insistent, that craves this, craves being seen, being wanted in a way I haven't allowed myself to feel in so long. It's primal, almost feral, and I'm ashamed of how much it draws me in, even as my heart races with the weight of betrayal. I glance down at the purse clutched in my hands, a lifeline to the woman I've always been. Cautious, composed, buttoned-up Claire. My fingers tighten around the strap for a moment, as if holding on to it can keep me tethered to that version of myself. But then, something shifts inside me, a quiet rebellion against the cage I've locked myself in. With a shaky breath, I let go. The purse slips from my grasp, hitting the stage floor with a soft thud that seems to echo louder than it should in the stillness. It's a small act, but it feels like shedding a skin, like releasing the weight of expectations I've carried for too long. My hands, usually so steady from years of balancing ledgers and keeping everything in order, tremble as I reach up to the collar of my dress. My fingers fumble with the top button, the fabric resisting for a heartbeat before it gives way, exposing just a sliver of collarbone. It's nothing really, just a tiny glimpse of skin. But to me, it feels monumental, like I've cracked open a door I've kept bolted shut for decades. The air feels different now, charged with a tension I can't ignore. Frank, Tom, and Ray stand there on the stage. The tension in the air so thick it feels like it's pressing down on my chest. My fingers linger at the collar of my dress, the small act of unbuttoning that top button still reverberating through me like an earthquake. I've crossed a line I never thought I'd even approach, and now, with Frank, Tom, and Ray so close, I feel the pull of something wild and untamed taking over. I'm not just Claire, the reserved bookkeeper anymore. I'm someone else, someone who's been waiting in the shadows of my own life for far too long. My heart thunders in my ears, but I make the choice to let go, to surrender to this moment. I nod, a small deliberate gesture, giving them, and myself, permission to explore this uncharted territory. Frank's hands move first, his rough fingers sliding under the hem of my dress, the fabric bunching slightly as he traces the outline of my thigh with a slow, deliberate touch. The sensation sends a shockwave through me, my skin igniting under the warmth of his calloused palms. Tom steps closer, his tall frame looming as his lips brush against the side of my neck, a feather-like caress that makes my breath catch in my throat. The heat of his mouth against my skin is like a spark, setting off a fire I didn't know I had inside me. Ray, standing just to my left, leans in, his gravelly voice low and encouraging as he murmurs words of reassurance, urging me to embrace this freedom. His breath is hot against my ear, each word wrapping around me like a promise, and I feel myself leaning into it, craving the connection, the release from the prison of my own making. I'm at the center of their attention, standing on this creaky old stage, and it's as if the world has narrowed to just this space, just this moment. The wooden floor groans under our combined weight, a sound that mixes with the faint rustle of fabric and the uneven rhythm of my own breathing. The air in the auditorium carries a musty scent, the kind that clings to old buildings, but it's overpowered by the subtle notes of their cologne, earthy, sharp, intoxicating. My skin feels flushed, burning under their touches, and every nerve in my body is alive, hypersensitive to each brush, each whisper. It's sensory overload, and yet I want more. I'm choosing this, every second of it, a rebellion against the strict, buttoned-up life I've clung to for so long. Each touch, each moment, feels like I'm peeling back layers of myself, exposing the raw, unfiltered woman beneath. I feel powerful in a way I've never felt before, standing here, letting myself be seen, be desired. But there's vulnerability too, a sharp edge to this newfound strength. I know those tiny red lights in the corners of the room are still blinking, the security cameras capturing every second of this. Mark is watching from wherever he's holed up, his eyes on me through those cold, unfeeling lenses. The thought sends a shiver down my spine, a mix of guilt and defiance twisting in my gut. I'm betraying the life we've built together, the quiet, predictable rhythm of our marriage. But I'm also reclaiming something. Some part of me I thought I'd lost forever in the monotony of ledgers and long-sleeved dresses. I don't stop, though. I can't. Not now, when I'm finally feeling alive in a way I haven't in years. The moment builds, a crescendo of sensation and emotion until it reaches its peak. It's as if time slows, every detail etching itself into my memory. The way Frank's grip tightens just slightly, a a silent acknowledgement of the boundary we've crossed. The way Tom's breath quickens against my neck, mirroring my own racing pulse. The way Ray's voice dips even lower, a steady anchor in the storm of my unraveling. It's intense, overwhelming, a dance of closeness and unspoken understanding that I never imagined I'd be part of. And then, as quickly as it built, it ebbs, leaving me breathless and trembling, my body still humming with the aftershocks of what just transpired on that stage. I'm standing there, my breath uneven, the auditorium's silence wrapping around me like a heavy blanket. The air feels different now, charged with the weight of what I've done, what I've allowed myself to feel. My legs are shaky as I take a step back, smoothing the fabric of my dress with trembling hands, trying to reclaim some semblance of composure. The wooden floor creaks under my weight, a stark reminder of where I am, of the reality I've just shattered. Frank, Tom, and Ray step away, giving me space, their expressions a mix of respect and quiet acknowledgement. There's no judgment in their eyes, just an understanding that we've all crossed into something profound and unspoken. I hear the faint click of a door from the back of the auditorium, and my heart skips a beat. My eyes dart toward the sound, and there he is, Mark, stepping out of the shadows, his broad frame silhouetted against the dim light filtering through the entrance. He's not in his uniform, just a plain gray shirt and jeans, his face unreadable as he walks down the aisle toward me. My stomach churns with a cocktail of emotions: fear, guilt, anticipation. I don't know what to expect, don't know if he'll be angry or hurt after witnessing everything through those cold camera lenses. He stops a few feet away, then closes the distance, sitting beside me on the edge of the stage. His shoulder brushes mine, a familiar warmth that grounds me even as my mind races. The silence between us is heavy, almost suffocating, stretching on for what feels like an eternity. I brace myself, waiting for the storm I'm sure is coming, for words of betrayal or pain to cut through the quiet. But instead, Mark turns to me, his eyes meeting mine, and there's something in them I didn't expect. Awe, raw and unguarded. His voice is soft, thick with emotion, as he says, "You were beautiful, Claire. I always knew there was more behind those eyes." I'm stunned, my breath catching in my throat as I search his face for any hint of judgment, any trace of anger. But there's none. Only understanding, deep and unshakable. He reaches up, brushing a stray strand of hair from my face, and continues, his words slow and deliberate. "I've felt it too, you know. Our life, it's been slipping into a rut. I saw your restlessness, felt it in the way you'd stare out the window like you were somewhere else. I wanted to give you a way to break free, even if it meant risking everything we've built." His confession hangs in the air, heavy with truth, and I feel a flood of relief wash over me, mingled with a lingering pang of guilt. How could I have doubted him? How could I have thought he'd turn away from me after pushing me toward this edge? I reach for his hand, my fingers trembling as they find his, and he squeezes tight, anchoring me in this moment. We sit there, side by side, two people who've just redefined the boundaries of our marriage in the most unconventional way imaginable. The auditorium around us feels like a cocoon, shielding us from the outside world, from the questions and consequences that might come later. For now, it's just us, grappling with the rawness of what's happened, with the unspoken agreement that we've ventured into something new, something neither of us fully understands yet. My heart still races, but it's not from fear anymore. It's from the realization that Mark saw me, truly saw me, in a way I hadn't even seen myself until today. As the initial shock fades, I feel a shift inside me, like a weight I've carried for years has finally lifted. I stand up slowly, smoothing my dress once more, the gesture more instinct than necessity now. Mark rises with me, his presence steady at my side, and we walk out of the auditorium together. The campus outside is still eerily quiet, the sun dipping low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the empty walkways. The air is crisp, biting at my skin, but I welcome it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.